Greenville, South Carolina. Ijo Chiba. A Wednesday night service at Mount Pleasant Baptist, the kind of August where the air conditioner couldn't keep up and the hand fans from the funeral home kept moving even when nobody was preaching. I was 21 years old, sitting third pew from the back, and the smell of furniture polish on the wood was sharp enough to sting your eyes if you leaned in close. Pastor Hollis stood up that night and read from Revelation 7. He read about the 4 angels at the 4 corners of the earth. And when he got to the part about who they were, he said what every pastor I ever sat under said. He said angels are spirit. He said angels got no color. He said the question itself was foolish, was carnal, was the kind of thing the world wanted us asking instead of being saved. I sat with that for 47 years. Tonight I'm telling you what I found when I finally went and looked for myself. There's a verse, it's in your Bible right now, Revelation chapter 7, verse 2. And what it says in the original Greek manuscripts is not what most of you have been reading for 400 years. The 1611 King James translators made a choice, not a mistake, a choice. They had the Greek in front of them. They knew what the word meant. And they picked the softest English word available and laid it down on the page like a sheet over a body. The Greek word is Anatol. It means the rising of the sun, the east, the place the light comes from. John, writing on Patmos, saw an angel ascending from Anatole, from the sunrise side of the earth. Not from a direction, from a region. The East in the first century Mediterranean mind was not Europe. It was not Rome. The East was Africa, Arabia, the Horn, the lands below Egypt where the sun came up over a continent the Romans called Ethiopia. Land of burnt faces, that's what the Greeks called the people there. Aethiops. Burnt face, Aethiops, burnt face. Now hold that next to what the same revelation describes 3 chapters later. Chapter 10, verse 1. Another angel comes down. And John writes that his face was as the sun and his feet as pillars of fire. The 1611 translators kept that line. They had to. It's too plain to bend. But they made sure nobody connected it to chapter 7. They made sure nobody read those 2 angels as coming from the same place. Where did this softening come from? Let me tell you where it came from. King James commissioned 54 translators in 1604. They worked for 7 years. The instructions they were given by the king himself included 15 rules. Rule 1 said the bishop's Bible was to be followed and altered as little as the truth of the original would permit. Rule 3 said old ecclesiastical words were to be kept. Rule 6 said no marginal notes affixed unless for explanation of Hebrew or Greek words. The point of those rules was control. The point was a Bible the crown could hand to a colonizing empire, and not have it raise questions the empire couldn't answer. By 1611, England was already in the slave trade. John Hawkins had run his first voyage in 1562. The Royal African Company was 40 years away from its charter, but the appetite was already there. You think those 54 men, working under a king whose merchants were buying flesh on the West African coast, were going to publish a Bible that named angels as coming from the same continent the cargo was coming from? You think they were going to leave Anatole plain? They softened it, they translated it as the East, and let 400 years of preaching turn east into a compass point instead of a people. Pastor Hollis didn't know. I'm not putting it on Pastor Hollis. He was taught what he taught me. The man who taught him was taught by a man who was taught by a man, all the way back to a pulpit that got its Bible from a press, that got its translation from a king who had reasons. But you know now. And when you read Revelation 7 without the softening, the verse opens up. An angel ascends from the sunrise side of the earth, holding the seal of the living God. And he tells the other 4 not to hurt the land or the sea until the servants of God are sealed in their foreheads. Then John names the 12 tribes, Judah first, Reuben, Gad, Asher, Naphtali, Manasseh, Simeon, Levi, Issachar, Zebulun, Joseph, Benjamin. 144,000, sealed by an angel coming up out of Africa. That's not a stretch, that's the text. What changes when the softening comes off? It changes who you thought was watching. It changes who you thought was carrying the seal. It changes the geography of heaven in your imagination, which is the geography the 1611 men were most concerned to manage. Because if the angel at the sunrise is from the burnt face country, then the prophecy was never speaking past the people in the cargo hold. It was speaking directly to them, over the heads of the men who chained them, in a language those men translated and then hoped nobody would translate back. I sat in that pew in 1978 and was told the question was carnal. The question wasn't carnal. The answer was inconvenient. Go read it for yourself, Revelation 7 verse 2. Then read chapter 10 verse 1. Then look up Anatol in any Greek concordance you can find, Strong's number G395, and see what it says. Don't take my word, take the word. 415 years is a long time for a verse to wait. It waited for you,